All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. It is Wednesday. Market just ripped back up. I'm trying to see if there's a reason why. I don't really see anything. I see RTX. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. It is Wednesday. I see RTX missiles could be maintained in the Netherlands. I don't think that's going to move stuff. We had South African balance and data come out. I don't think that's moving anything either. We had Global Foundry show up at 41 cent EPS for stock earnings. Nvidia back up to 196s today. This is GFS. I think this is moving markets, though, to be honest. Nvidia again back up to 190s. AMD back up to 250s. Yeah. Yeah, so IBM sees a big milestone ahead for quantum computing, and it hinges on new chips. IBM talked about its plan to unveil or to build the world's first large-scale fault-tolerant quantum computer in June, and on Wednesday they shared more details on how they plan to reach that goal. They announced an experimental processor called Loon, which it said is its first to demonstrate, quote, all the key processor components needed for fault-tolerant quantum computing. All right, so Dow closed at a record high yesterday. Investors piled into stocks beyond AI, and so the Dow, if we take a look at it, it's /YM and Dow futures currently at 48,130s. And I think this is the all-time high. Yeah, all-time high in the Dow, or at least close to it in futures. 48,214 is what I'm showing as the all-time high. I think we're still a little ways away from that. No? But yeah, basically close to all-time highs. Basically, people are flocking to like Merck, AMGN, Nike, and others. China accused the U.S. of orchestrating a $13 billion Bitcoin hack. There was a theft of 127,272 BTC tokens from the Lubian Bitcoin mining pool that took place in December 2020. Ranks as one of the largest crypto heists ever. According to the Chinese, it is potentially a, quote, state-level hacker operation led by the United States. Interesting. AMD also said its data center revenue will jump 60% over the next 3 to 5 years. We'll see. And yeah, the House is set to vote today. Again, markets are up. S&P up about 0.4%. NASDAQ up about 0.7%. Markets in a risk-on mood. Optimism about the government shutdown officially ending today. I still don't think we're going to get jobless claims. I still don't think we're going to get CPI. I still don't think we're going to get PPI later this week. I just don't think. I hope we do. I cover all the data. We get thousands of people that tune in for the big data reports. But I don't think we're going to get this data out by the end of this week. I think maybe we'll get some of the delayed data, but the government should be back open tomorrow. It is expected to pass the House. They're supposed to vote, I think, 4:30 this afternoon. We did have NBA 30-year mortgage rates show up a little bit earlier. They showed up slightly higher than last time, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, NBA 30-year mortgages showed up at 6.34%. Last time they were 6.31%. Again, AMD is up pretty significantly. Up to 250s again. They had their analyst day yesterday for AMD. Provided a bullish long-term growth forecast, projecting 35% annual revenue growth driven by AI for AMD. Disney has earnings tomorrow on Thursday before market opens. Okay, so regarding this push-up, some people, you think it's from the Fostering the Future signing executive order? I asked about this. It's his wife's initiative. It aims to bolster support for foster youth. I don't know if that's going to benefit markets that much, though. Maybe. It provides educational opportunities for children in foster care. The goal is to help them in tech. I don't know if that's going to be boosting the market up. I don't know why the market went up like this. Like, I saw it early this morning. I was at my computer. I don't know why the market went up. I don't really see any news to justify it. Bitcoin back up to 105, though. The Bitcoin back up to 105s. All right, so we got a poll. A couple polls that just came out. U.S. job growth has remained about the same since the government shutdown started, says 36 of 52 economists. In a Reuters poll, we also have the Fed is going to cut the Fed funds rate by 25 basis points in December, according to 84 out of 105 economists. Yep, I agree. I think 25, 25, 25 is what we're going to continually get. Yeah, I mean, maybe Pawn, it might be, you might be right. Again, I could certainly be wrong. I just don't know if that's a, like, you know, helping kids in foster care. I don't know if that's necessarily a big catalyst for the market. Not anything that's going to move the market up like this, I think. Also, you also have to wonder why we dropped like this initially. And so, not saying you're wrong. I don't know. I don't know if the fostering initiative is going to boost markets like that short term. We've had some whippy price action lately. Yesterday and today, the price action's been back and forth, up and down, kind of whippy. So I really don't know. You might be right. Again, I really don't know. Yeah, I think we're just pushing into the shutdown being over. I think there's a chance it ends today, as long as the president signs it today after the House passes it. There's a chance it ends today, and I hope it's right. Obviously, I hope we resume. I just don't know what, you know, I don't know, even if we do resume, I don't know when we're going to start getting the data. They should post us a schedule, like a new schedule, sometime soon. Once the government resumes, we'll get the schedule on when the data is going to start coming out. What are the foster care stocks? Again, like I said, you might be right, Pawn. You definitely could be right. I really don't know. What are the foster care stocks, though? Like, I was trying to look and see what stocks reacted to it. I mean, I know Nvidia certainly did. Apple, no. Google, no. Nvidia, yes. AMD, yes. Meta, not really. Netflix, no. Amazon, no. TSM, yes. So these are specifically microchip stocks that popped, right? Like, they're only microchip stocks. They're not really, like, Apple didn't move much. Amazon didn't move much. These seem to be mostly like microchips. AMD, Nvidia, and TSM moved. Chegg. Yeah, but they didn't really move either. They moved a very slight amount. I don't think it was enough to... Yeah, I think it was microchip related. Whatever the catalyst is, let me look at other sources. I think it was microchip related personally. Just based off of what stocks moved. Okay, so AMKR is gaining momentum according to some sources. But I don't think that's it either. AMD. Yeah, and I think that has more to do with like the investor day. I don't know. I would argue, I mean, AMD definitely moved up and you can kind of see the volume spike in it, but Nvidia did as well here. Look at Nvidia. I mean, you could theorize, like Pawn saying, like, you know, more people, more foster children getting into technology is more optimistic for the microchip sector. And it's possible that's what happened. I just don't know why we had such a big move from that. That's strange. Could be algorithms, maybe. Yeah, let me know if you guys know why the market popped like this. AMD, Nvidia, NASDAQ. Bitcoin at 105,000 though. We also, again, we had a Reuters poll come out about 5 minutes ago that said that according to 84 out of 105 economists, we're probably going to cut rates 25 basis points in December. We also had the same Reuters poll say that U.S. job growth remained about the same since the government shutdown started. It says 36 out of 52. 16 say worse. We had some news about Goldman Sachs earlier that said U.S. stocks might trail global peers over the next decade. They said Goldman Sachs strategist Peter Oppenheimer expects equities to post the weakest returns among major regions over the next 10 years, projecting 6.5% annual gains for the S&P. He urged investors to diversify beyond U.S., citing high valuations and stronger growth abroad. He referenced emerging markets. He said they're going to lead with almost 11% yearly returns driven by China and Asia. Excluding Japan is seen returning to Asia, excluding Japan is seen to return 10.3%, Japan 8.2%, and Europe 7.1%. He noted that AI's benefits will be global and that faster nominal GDP growth and reforms favor emerging markets. Yeah, and I think one of the things that could, I mean, we have UK Starmer speaking right around when this spike happened. Starmer said, Health Secretary is doing a good job. My team have not authorized attacks on cabinet members. Says this is a united team and we are delivering together. RTX missiles could be made and maintained in the Netherlands is another news source that I see here. RTX, not really. Yeah, mortgage applications did show up this morning. Again, the rate actually went up a little bit, 6.34 from 6.31. But applications increased 0.6%. Previously was negative 1.9%. And so that's possible too. It was right at 6 though. And so here's 6. I mean, it could be a spike. It would have to be delayed. It's just weird. Usually, like, it seems microchip related, AMD and Nvidia. But I don't see any real news in those sectors right now. Yeah, Netflix stock split is going to be on Monday. Let's see what that looks like. JP Morgan. That's at 316s. Again, most economists thinking we do cut rates 25 basis points. With that said, let's take a look at yields today. They were closed yesterday. They're down today. Closed yesterday, down today for yields. You can kind of see, here's the big drop from the government shutdown ending, I guess. Yields were closed. But yeah, they're at 4.083%, 4.083%. This morning for yields. If we take a look at odds for rate cuts, we're actually down a little bit. We're at 64% likelihood for a 25 basis point rate cut and 36% likelihood of a pause. Still looking probable that we're going to cut, but see what happens. I'm watching 25.8 here on the NASDAQ. I hope we just get something that's not choppy. The market's been choppy. Bro, I told AI to summarize everything going on in pre-market today. You know what AI had the audacity to tell me? It said futures are up. AMD and Palantir, which is right. Shutdown hits new record, day 37. Today's like day 40 something. Next deadline is November 15th. Jobless claims are delayed. Non-farm payrolls delays. Disney earnings after the close. Disney earnings are not after the close today. They're after the close tomorrow. I had to kind of yell at it. I was like, wow, a lot of this is wrong. All right, but yeah, this is essentially what we got today. AMD did have good growth forecasts. It's pushing markets up. Again, Bitcoin back up to 105,000. Again, I hear Michael Burry is doubling down on his claim. Michael Burry posted this yesterday. Look, Michael Burry says, "Me then, me now. Oh well, it worked out. It will work out." Do your thing, Michael Burry. I'm not even mad at you. Now on the 10th, Michael Burry did post. So on Monday, Michael Burry posted this. He said, "Understanding depreciation by extending useful life of assets artificially boosts earnings. One of the more common frauds in the modern era. Massively ramping up capex through purchase of NVIDIA chips and servers on a 2 to 3 year product cycle should not result in the extension of useful lives of compute equipment. Yeah, this is exactly what all the hyperscalers have done. By my estimates, they will understand depreciation by 176 billion by next year through 2028. By 28, Oracle will overestimate earnings almost 27%, Meta by almost 21%. But it gets worse. More detail coming November 25th. Stay tuned." And then he posted this: network compute depreciation useful life years. Years of overvaluation in tech. You think he's playing the drums right now? Probably. I think he's probably playing. He held swaps 3 to 5 years. The man breathes underwater. Algo's just celebrating for the end of the shutdown. I think that's plausible for sure. Yeah, JP Morgan is just up so much right now. I had all-time highs as well. Nothing really looks that tempting to buy. He's not wrong, just wrong on timing. That's the same thing, Michael. Or so, what is it? What did they say in The Big Short? His friend that ended up suing him, I can't remember his name. He yells at him. He said, "I'm not wrong. I might be early, but I'm not wrong." And then he's like, "It's the same thing." I'm not saying he's wrong. He might be early though. So. I'm not about to short Apple. I don't really short any blue chip stock like that. I'm not trying to pick the tops of the healthiest companies in the world. You might be able to do it successfully. I'm not even mad at you if you do, but I'm not. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I'm not really interested in calling the tops of the healthiest assets in the world. It just seems risky to me and low odds. Circle, yeah, Circle had earnings. I thought more people would be mentioning this one. Circle stock had earnings. It is down, you know, roughly 10% right now, like 9% or something like that for SCRCL. Down from about 102 something to 92s. Yeah, gold. If we take a look at gold, back up to 4150s here, basically. Bitcoin's starting to fall a little bit in pre-market, but it's still back up to almost 105s right now. So Bank of America says institutional investors are buying the dip in U.S. stocks. So Bank of America said institutional clients were net buyers of equities last week, led by 4.3 billion in ETF inflows, which is the biggest since December of 2022, even as they sold almost over 2.5 billion in individual stocks. They were the only net buyers were specifically institutions, while hedge funds and retail sold. Sector flows showed a defensive tilt, outflows from tech and communications and inflows into staple and healthcare. They noted institutions have replaced retail as the main dip buyers this year, as corporate buybacks remain below typical seasonal levels. So, Only reason I short is so I hope stocks go lower so I can buy more. Yeah, circular. A lot of people were worried about, you know, circular financing. For sure. There's a graph. I can't remember where the graph went, but there's a graph showing kind of like how sketchy it is. And I don't know. So look, NASDAQ just broke 25,800s here. And NASDAQ pushing up here. Government shutdown ending today is big. Ooh, I kind of want to short this now. Should I? All right, we'll short. Just a little bit. Just a piece of it. Take a little bit more. We add a little bit more to it too. Just depends. We ended up ripping up. I gotta just cover it quick. Yeah, here's the graph that's been going around. I've seen this graph a lot of different places, actually. This is Bloomberg. This is from Bloomberg here. What a crazy graph. Hold on. Let me, I'm gonna have to cover some of this pretty soon. Let me give it a second. There we go. All right, I'm gonna start covering this just because we rejected exactly at the level I wanted. We're just gonna cut it right there. But yeah, here's the graph. And you can kind of see, this is the circular finance thing that they're talking about. It goes from OpenAI right here, it goes to Microsoft, back to OpenAI, to all these different things, to AMD back, you know, to XAI, Oracle, OpenAI goes to Oracle, Microsoft, CoreWeave, Intel, NVIDIA to Intel, you know. Like, it just kind of goes in this big circle. Money circulating, you know. And that's the risk. Yeah, we rejected right there at 25.8. Got the short, got out. But and we showed you guys Michael Burry kind of doubling down on AI overvaluation claims. He might be right. I don't know. The problem with Michael Burry is that he has been so bearish. For years and years now, I've seen Michael Burry be wrong about shorts. When was the last time? Okay, it was 1/31/2023. So just to put this into perspective, right? Let me bring this down here and show you guys. So Michael Burry. I'm gonna put up the Q because it's just easier. Michael Burry told everybody to sell. Here, just to put this in perspective. All right, Michael Burry told everybody to sell on X. Here. I'm not saying, I guess I am saying it. That was a terrible call for Michael Burry. We had one of the longest bull runs in history. Not one of the longest. We had one of the biggest, steepest runs up to 620. Again, Burry basically telling everybody to sell ahead of the Fed meeting and then deactivating his Twitter happened here. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is, like, just because Burry thinks it's a sell, just because Burry thinks it's time to sell, does not mean it's time to sell. It might mean it. It's definitely possible, you know. But just be careful, you know. Be careful. He might be right. Again, I really don't know. Is Michael Burry correct about tech overvaluations? It's going to be the poll for today. Is Michael Burry correct about tech overvaluations? I'm going to give you 3 options for this poll. It's going to be yes, no, and yes, but early. That's the 3 options. Should have held this short. Yeah, I'm not an investment professional, guys. We're not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Understand all this stuff on screen. Understand CFTC 4.41. Some of the links we publish are sponsored links. Not an investment professional. Definitely biased. And half the time I have no idea what I'm talking about. Don't copy me. He seems to be picking Palantir. Yeah, but I don't think Palantir is going to weigh on the market like he wants it to. I mean, it's definitely going to give a... we're going to have some correlation between Palantir and other stuff. But even if Palantir does drop, it doesn't mean the rest of the market's going to fall. You know? I think he is, but the question is, does the overall market care right now? I agree. Markets are about mass psychology. He could be right, and we can keep running for years. Again, Alan Greenspan in 1997 called investors at the time. He said they had irrational exuberance. It was a famous speech, and we didn't actually pop in that valuation bubble for 3-4 years, you know? And so we could keep running for years. Yeah, AMD up today, back up to 250s. AMD has seen some wild gains, though. If you look at AMD, AMD is up a crazy amount. AMD was at 150 in October, basically. It's at 250s now. Hit 270s back late October, a couple weeks ago. So AMD has been up massive amounts. I'm not saying it doesn't, you know, continue up, but man, it's up a lot. Yeah, I don't see Burry. I see Christian Bale. Christian Bale is Michael Burry at this point in time. Even Michael Burry posted a picture. Like, look, even Michael Burry is the same way. Again, here's Michael Burry. Daydreaming about the good old days. You know who he posts? He posts Christian Bale here. Christian Bale, not Michael Burry. You know, so does that mean Michael Burry is Batman? If he put the mask on and started fighting crime, I'd support him. You know, I'm sure he'd have some good gadgets. He might be a little bit too pessimistic about Gotham, but you know, that's life. Anyways, Microchip's up today. Nvidia. I think Nvidia wants $200, but look at the NASDAQ come back down here. At 25.8 level held too. Look at that. Under the 200 exponential. We might have some old support at like 65 right here, like 67s. Right around this area here. But we're kind of dropping quickly right now. Look at this. Might bounce. There's the bounce. That 68. Close to it. Yeah, I don't think Michael Burry likes Palantir at all. He made a post on the 9th that said, doesn't surprise me one bit that Alex Karp and his ontology Palantir cannot crack a simple 13F filing, a fundamental principle of any rigorous ontological... And he's hitting me some words. Ontological slash epistemological model. Nailed it. Whether philosophical or in data science, is recognizing when your information set is sufficient for valid conclusions. Yeah, the shutdown should end today. We should be back up running tomorrow for the government, as long as it gets signed tonight. I'm not saying he's wrong. It looks like most people think he's wrong. He's right, but early. And I think that's probably the safe bet. I think that's probably the safe bet. Yeah, market's been a little whippy the last few days. We're mostly green. The market is, I mean, the shutdown's going to be over in like either tomorrow or Friday. And so with that, I think people are just getting baked into that move. I think that's why we're up some. I think it makes sense. This week. Last week was a little fearful in markets, so. I mean, I would hold short positions in companies, BT, but it wouldn't be shorting, like, it wouldn't be shorting Apple or Amazon or Nvidia or something like that. It's just there's too much of a chance that I get squeezed out on the upside. I would short companies, again, to be honest, like Beyond Meat when it was overvalued, Peloton when it was overvalued, Lululemon when it was overvalued. There's been a handful of different companies that, if you guys remember, I've said, hey, I think this company might not do well. One of them was Lululemon 3 years ago. And again, the logic of that was Lululemon got really big from like athleisure wear, like comfortable clothing that people wore after 2020 since they were stuck at home. And it was a new brand, and trends and fashion changes, and generations don't want to wear what the previous generations wore. And so as new generations would sprout out, and as we got farther away from 2020, styles would change and Lululemon wouldn't make as much money as they used to. And this was back when Lululemon was at like $500 a share. Lululemon's now at 170s. This is Lululemon's trend since mid 2023, which is again after I talked about it. I used to have a guy that would argue with me about it. I can't remember his name, but he was, you know, in hindsight, obviously, hopefully he recognizes that I was right. There's just too much risk in investing in like fashion companies that are trending because trends change. That's an example. Beyond Meat, you know, since Beyond Meat was noticeably higher, I've been a pretty big skeptic of it, just because again, my argument with Beyond Meat is I just didn't think they had enough customers to prop up a big public company at these crazy prices at $150 even. Now it's at $1.22. And then Peloton was the other one I didn't like. And yeah, for good reason. Everybody got stuck at home, so they had this big revenue spike from people buying virtual reality bicycles. And then once people started getting out their house again, you know, their price faded. Again, so I think there's some companies that you can find an edge shorting. I'm not trying to short the healthiest tech companies in the world, though. Maybe they're overvalued. It's possible they are. There's too much of an incentive to prop those companies up in a lot of different ways, right? And I'm not really trying to bet against that. And I think that's what, honestly, what almost hurt Michael Burry the first time he shorted the mass market like he did in 2007, 2008, and mortgages, is like there's too much of an incentive to prop those things up for years. And so it's just risky. I would rather short companies that, you know, the hype is done. They're overvalued already. They're not really crazy squeeze companies like, you know, Apple or Nvidia. More so just kind of companies that got a little bit too expensive, a little bit too much hype behind them, and they'll probably correct. CPI is almost certainly not going to happen tomorrow. I hope it does. But I don't think it will. I hope it does, though. You know? I'm not shorting Carvana. There's no chance I short Carvana. Carvana did something crazy. It went down to $3.55, and now it's at $326, which is just a crazy rebound here. It went from 400 down to 3, back up to almost 400 again. I'm not shorting that thing at all. I'm good on that. Again, maybe there's edge. I'm not desperate enough to try to find it. Open Door, yeah, the mortgage applications might make Open Door go up a little bit, but it's actually down some today. Donut, which was that Krispy Kreme? Yeah, I love a Krispy Kreme donut. A warm Krispy Kreme donut, the best donut you ever had. You know, it has to be warm though. It has to be fresh out. Outside of that, they're just overly sweet, I think. But still, I'm not going to invest in Krispy Kreme. Margins aren't good enough. Donuts are cheap to make. You know, don't sell for very expensive. You know, I'm just not trying to invest in a donut company. I just don't. Not enough meat in that trade, I think. You know. AMD price target raised to 285 at Mizuho. When government reopen and when data. Government reopens probably tomorrow. Data is going to come out. I don't know when. Maybe they'll consolidate some of the late data we didn't get. You know, and we'll get it Friday, I'm thinking. Maybe. Outside of that, it might take a while to start getting data again. Well, at the very least, next week we got a whole bunch of stuff too, but it might take a little bit. That's right. Yeah, take the quote out of context. Not enough meat and donuts, they say. John says, not enough meat and donuts. You know? Out of context quotes. I'd believe it if I saw it. No, the voting's today. 4 p.m. Eastern. Today. For the House. And it's probably going to pass. As long as the president signs it afterwards today, government will open back up tomorrow. Yeah, it took long enough, man. I haven't known what to do for the last month and a couple weeks. It's been boring over here. I mean, we still cover stuff, but my channel always covers the economic reports. So I'm excited to get it back finally. It took long enough. The last time the government shut down, it was like 2019. It was 6 years ago. I don't remember. I don't even think I was covering data at that point. But yeah, I don't think all the data is going to release at once. I don't think that's feasible. I think there's too much volatility. They're going to tell us when the data is going to come out. I don't think we'll get CPI tomorrow. Maybe we'll get a delayed version of it from last. No, we already got CPI. Maybe we'll get some of the delayed versions Friday, early next week. And then regarding the October numbers, for like payrolls and stuff like that, I think we'll know Friday, maybe tomorrow, when they're going to start getting data back. The question is, if the government resumption ends today, or if the government shutdown ends today, do people go back to work tomorrow? I don't know. I think it's going to take them probably Monday next week is when we're really going to start seeing people back up to be able to compile the data that we need, really. But we will get a bunch of data drops once the government resumes. I just don't know when. Yeah, they're not going to emergency cut at all. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's the next day. But you also got to understand, like, look, they're not going to start votes until 4:30 p.m., I think, today, or, you know, Eastern time. And so what that means is, like, they're not even going to start to do the whole thing where they get everything prepped and ready to vote until 4 o'clock. It could drag on hours and hours and hours. And so the question is, if the government opens back up tomorrow, maybe they'll have a couple people show up and compile some of this stuff and put out a schedule, I'm hoping. But you know, if we get the news that the government's going to reopen tomorrow at 9 o'clock tonight, 8 o'clock tonight, are they really going to tell people 8 and 9 o'clock at night, yo, you got to go to work, surprise, tomorrow? I don't know. They might wait until Monday is my guess. But I don't know. Maybe they'll have a couple people back just to compile the data. I don't know. I'm in meta right now. Meta's doing pretty good today. I'm green on my meta position. Nice. Yeah, so I am green in my meta position. That's always good. Nasdaq's very flat again, man. It's been mostly flat this week. Earnings season's basically done. We do have NVIDIA earnings next week. We got the Fed minutes report next week. We've got government resuming, so we should get data next week as well. So next week, honestly, is probably going to be pretty busy. But we'll see. Yeah, I'm sure that's pretty common. They're slow. They're slow. You know how it goes. Honestly, when they were making the votes on the government shutdown, the last guy was like a Republican from Texas, and I'm in Texas. I think his name was Cornyn, John Cornyn. And like they made it the most stressful end to the government shutdown ever in the Senate. They had 59 votes. And they needed 60. And this one guy was the last person left. He was the last person left to vote. And he was on the right, but he was, you know, I don't know. A lot of people didn't like him, apparently. I don't know anything about politics in that way. But he didn't show up to vote for like 2.5 hours. Everybody else had voted. We're at number 59. They needed 60 to reopen the government. And he was just not there. He wasn't even there. I think he went back to Texas and hung out or something instead of just sticking around. They need to change the rules regarding that. Make them sit there and stay in place in town until it's done. Yeah, I mean, we got some big movements in crypto and Bitcoin after, like, basically right when that 60th vote was cast, right around here, we started to see some rises in crypto and Bitcoin. No, I'm sorry, this is today. We started to see some rises in Bitcoin Sunday, November 9th. You know, you can kind of see Bitcoin ended up popping up on the shutdown ending. You know? And so we're still holding those gains. Look at the NASDAQ start to test this level again, but it's moving up some. Yeah, I know. I hope they go back tomorrow, Steve. I really do. Like, the earlier they go back, the earlier we start getting economic reports. And so I'm okay with that, you know. Ooh. I've been doing physical therapy. I'm basically back to where I was. I can go upstairs. They had me do leg presses yesterday with just the hurt leg. And I could actually lift some weight with my leg, which is good. I can go upstairs, downstairs. Supposed to get the brace off in like 3 days. But I'm not wearing it right now. Wonder how early I can go back training. I don't want to rush it because then it's usually bad outcomes, but no, it's going to pass the house. people on both sides are going to vote for it. You know, it's not just like, you know, I know it's thin on the right. The majority is thin. But people on both sides are going to vote for it and shut down. They'd get so much heat if they didn't. You know, if we got to this point where it's basically over and then they restarted everything, they'd get so much heat for it. It's going to pass. I don't know much about Nokia at this point in time. It's made a crazy move from 4 to 7s as well. But I don't know what Nokia does anymore. I know they might be getting into tech and AI and stuff, but I really don't know what they're doing at this point. Yeah, I hate the brace. Honestly, the foot one bothers me more, though. The brace I've kind of gotten used to. But I can't walk barefoot in my house, which is terrible. I gotta wear shoes everywhere I go. Everywhere I walk, I gotta wear shoes. They finally got me back to where I'm starting to walk barefoot now. Man, that was the hardest one to wait for. Alright, guys. So again, we're still rejecting at 25.8. We're making another push though. Highs of the day are right up here at 8:30, basically. High of the day for the NASDAQ. If we take a look at the SPY, we get Nvidia, Meta, AMD all up. SPY up to 685. So I think the S&P wants 7,000 too. I mean, 7,000 is really not that far away. 7,000, we just need one good green day. Maybe two. There's 7,000 on the S&P 500. I think the market wants 7,000 as well. I think we're very close to it. So yeah, I think we're close to it. Nvidia partnership. Yeah, I saw the news regarding Nokia. To be honest though, people have been pumping up Nokia for years. I'm skeptical. They've made some good runs though. They have made some good runs. Ooh. Hey, you do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We got over 700 here at 8 a.m. I appreciate it, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I agree the funding bill should pass, but come January 30th, we could have another possible shutdown. Yeah, we could. I mean, I'm hoping they work it out when the government resumes, that like for the next month or two, they work it out. Maybe that's too much optimism for the government, but I hope they work it out. Yeah, what's going on at 4 p.m. is a House vote on the government shutdown ending. And once it passes the House, you just need the president to sign it and the government's back. AMD, guys, still moving up here. Look at AMD. 250s, 252s almost right now. NASDAQ climbing back over, finally over 25.8s. Remember, 830s are the high of the day. I might take some trades attacking that high up there. If we get up to like 810, I might take some trades up to like 830, maybe. Yeah, Bitcoin, again, all the way up to 105s right now. Still looking okay there. But again, the government should be open back up as long as the president signs it tomorrow. Again, AMD in Analyst Day, they provided a very bullish long-term growth forecast yesterday, projecting 35+% annual growth, which they say is driven by AI. Yeah, I saw the Quantum Nighthawk processor for IBM. IBM's up to 320 today. Yeah, we don't have data to guide us. The government's resuming back up. We've got a lot of upward pushes. from that. So I mean, I think that's just what's going on. Again, we're supposed to have CPI inflation data tomorrow, but I think it's very low odds we actually get it. Yeah, so again, if the House passes the Senate's compromise bill, it's expected at 4 p.m. Eastern. The enrolled finalized bill will be sent to the White House. The president is expected to sign it immediately, and he's already called it a very big victory. And then tomorrow, with the bill signed into law, the Office of Management and Budget will issue the formal order for all federal agencies to resume normal operations. Furloughed workers will be notified and all that stuff. Again, so late Thursday and Friday, some of these data organizations like the BLS and the BEA, they're going to put out a new revised press release calendar. It'll tell us when to expect the backlog dump for all the delayed September and October reports. So we should get that soon. All right, NASDAQ still pushing up. Looking at our poll numbers, 41% think yes, Burry is correct about tech valuations. 32% say no, 27% say yes, but early. So it's switched back and forth. Originally, the highest percentage one was the 27% yes, but early. Now, yes, Burry's correct, they think. Yeah, I mean, if we take a look at it, gold up, silver up today, but honestly, gold's not that green. It's kind of testing the previous closing price for gold, so it's dipping down a little bit. Crypto is right around 105. So crypto right around 105,000. Artificial. Are you talking about artificial profits, Chavo? I was thinking about 810s. Let me see if we get a dip here. I'll buy a dip if we get it, but we need a dip. All right, guys, 8:30 is coming soon. Government's still shut down, so we don't really have any type of significant data. We got Canadian building permits at 8:30. We got Williams speaking at 9:20. Again, we're supposed to get CPI tomorrow. Last time CPI showed up at 3%. I didn't really get a dip to buy here, though. Gold now technically red on the day. Look at gold. 41.30s right now for gold. Meta's back up a lot, so that's good. Yeah, I'm kind of looking for a little pullback here. We'll try small right now. Then maybe add to it if we go green. What do you think we're going to see today? 26.1 for micro NASDAQ? I don't know. That's optimistic, I think. Maybe. Possible. I never really got a chance to scale into this position, which I'd prefer to do. I'm not going to add any too early. I'd like a larger dip down to at least 8.02 or 3. Burry's prediction is that history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. Nobody really knows when the bottom falls. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, tiny little position. I'd like to add to this more. I just haven't really got a chance to, just because the highs of the day are all the way up here. So I think there's a chance we try to test this and do whatever, you know. But, all right, that's a little bit better. We'll add to this now. We take up to 3, 4. 4. Maybe I should have waited for 8, but all right. AMD still chopping higher too. Look at AMD. 253s. Nvidia dipping down some too, though. Here's 196 on Nvidia's. Luckily, we had a little bit of a cushion on the day. I'm not going to add any more to this, though. Yeah, so again, the House is voting Wednesday, which is today. Members are advised that the first votes may occur as early as 4 p.m. Wednesday. Multiple vote series are expected. I mean, we got some Fed members speaking today, but it's nobody big. We got Moran speaking at 12:30 in a conversation with Reserve Governor Stephen Moran at the Fireside Chat at Cambridge. Chris Waller speaking today about payments at the annual FinTech conference hosted by the Federal Reserve Bank of Philly. All right, we're now back to green here. I'm gonna start selling a little bit of this. I think I'm just gonna hold this though, most of it, and just wait. We are a little choppy, but Fed meeting's gonna be on 12:10. Yeah, I don't know. I think the House thing's gonna pass. Yeah, I think if it didn't, they'd get so much heat for it. Yeah. I might add my size back too, but try. AMD looks like it's in a bounce area, and so does Nvidia, so that should hopefully prop me up. Where's Apple today? Apple's right there too. There. Let's see if we bounce at 25,800 right here. I think we're starting to. Up, chef. Yeah, I'm not really gonna trade off of news like that. I don't trade off of economic reports. I don't really trade off of news. I might trade extension after the news is out, but I'm not gonna like buy something when news comes out. I think that's dumb. Dude, up and down. Even if you're right, you might be wrong. That's Michael Burry. There's AMD bouncing a little bit. Nvidia's as well. Nvidia's right at these big levels here. I want to let it test these. Yeah, I don't know a ton about SNDK. I can see the gains it's made though. These are some wild gains. Look at SNDK here. Look at this. SNDK starting in August, man. All right, there we go. I'm gonna take half off up there just because I can. Wait on this. Let it rub up some more. Take a little bit more off up there. Hold the rest. 25.8 held nicely. I'll try to be really patient with this. I'm not saying I will, but I'll try to be. Yeah, data storage. I don't see any news come out. Amazon says starting today, U.S. Amazon business users can access Amazon Business Assistant at no extra cost. Let me see what else is going on. Eli Lilly up 56% last 3 months, about to hit 1 trillion. Yeah, they've grown wild too. Almost $1,000. They'll probably split sometime soon too, I think. Yeah, maybe I should have taken profit up there. I think this dip is mostly from people like me taking profit. I did take some profit, by the way, but I want to let it try to get back up there. Depends on what some of these tech stocks are going to do. Again, Nvidia bounced where I thought it would, but it didn't really follow through with it. We're watching AMD to see if it does now. At the very least, we've taken a cushion enough to where we're not going to be losing money on this trade at all, but I don't really like this drop, so I'm going to sell. We're green, but drop. Good bounce right there at 25.8 again as well. Range is just choppy right now. We'll see if this range can break here. Here's the 200 exponential, so maybe it like pull back to this. Possible, I don't know. Yeah, Apple dumping down right now is what's going on. Apple's a heavily weighted stock too. It influences a lot of stuff. Look at Bitcoin come down. Looking for other news sources here. Morgan Stanley says key driver for Tesla stock in the next 6 to 12 months are that beyond Elon's trillion pay package, Morgan Stanley says several factors could shape the stock. XAI, FSD, chip production, AI, and more. There's oil. Oil's over 60, but still down a little bit today. Yeah. Oracle had earnings a couple weeks ago, I'm pretty sure. Might be wrong though. Oracle's been on a dip though. Actually, Oracle reports December 8th. Which is 2 days before the Fed meeting. Yeah, I see the demand. OPEC Plus crude output averaged 43 million BPD in October, down 73 from September despite the output hike. They forecast world demand for OPEC crude will average 43 million BPD in 26, down 100,000 from previous. Oh, that's kind of what dropped oil right there, I think. Lower demand. AMD still trying to get a little bit higher here. All right, guys. So market has turned a little bit back down. AMD still fighting higher though. Nvidia, yeah, it's under that big level we watched. But again, the markets are kind of uncertain right now. We're not doing too much. The government's supposed to resume back tomorrow. We're also supposed to get CPI tomorrow. Again, I don't think we will, but there's a chance, a small chance we do. Small chance we do. I don't think we will, but there's a very small chance. And I have this level on NVIDIA. It's at 195, 196 here, so we're looking at it. 4 p.m. Eastern time today, they vote. They open. So they don't. The diamond. The procedure. House votes. Once it passes the House, then the president has to sign it, and he should sign it immediately. And so essentially, it will be open tonight, but they're not going to give the workers the green light to return to work until at the very least tomorrow, is my guess. It's not like they're going to show up at 7, 8 o'clock at night. You know, I hope they do. Get to work. Start compiling that data. You know, like, I'm for it. But I don't think it's going to happen. And so I think tomorrow, Friday, is when we're going to start getting updates there. Yeah, Oracle's December 8th, 2 days before the Fed meeting. All right, NASDAQ pulling back here. I'm watching the 200 exponential, unless this is news related. Polestar CFO says it sold more Polestar 2 and 3s than Polestar 4 in the quarter. Yeah, make reports great again. Bring them back. I'm ready for it. I don't think reports are going to be great until late December, though. Maybe. Yeah. I kind of want to buy this 200 exponential dip, but I want to make sure there's no news coming out immediately. Besson is speaking again. He said the economy was in a great place before the shutdown. He cites the hiccup in the economy thanks to the shutdown. Again, Besson speaking right now. Oh, I should have bought the 200 exponential dip right here. They are already working, they're just not getting paid. No, that's not true. Some of them are furloughed right now, meaning they're stuck. They got sent home, you know. So, again, anybody deemed non-essential, which is probably a half of them, isn't working. And so we haven't gotten economic reports. Yeah. Again, Bessett's still speaking. He said economy was in a great place before the government shutdown. I don't know where he's speaking right now. But see what he's got to say. He cites the hiccup in the economy thanks to the shutdown. He said we'll see substantial tariff news next couple of days. I would assume they should have made the data compilers essential, because we kind of need that data to guide the Fed. Besson also said that bananas and other fruits also set for tariff relief. He said we'll see substantial announcements on prices for products like coffee, bananas that we don't grow in the United States. We're going to unveil tariff relief on coffee and other items. I don't want to buy this again. All right, we'll try. We'll add maybe down to the 200 exponential to a point. Essen also said, I expect Q1 and Q2 real incomes pick up. We will see substantial tariff news. I will add to this. We get into like 5. We got a little bit bigger cushion on the day now. Again, don't copy. I'm not an investment professional, guys. Not liable if you lose money. Again, I'm trading on Top Step's funded account program, so they give you a 50K demo. They test your skill with it. You pass the test. They fund you. You fail, you lose 50 bucks for the base one. It's not the end of the world. And then learning how to trade with some risk makes sense. It's kind of like a souped up demo account where you have some risk, but if you fail, it's not the end of the world versus funding thousands in your own account and probably losing it, like most new day traders end up doing. It's the best way to learn, in my opinion. Most day traders lose money regardless of where they go. And in the futures market, you can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, commodities. Very similar to day trading equities, in my opinion. And just genuinely useful for learning is the big thing. Top Step's one of the most legit in the world. They pay out millions, fund thousands. And yeah, we're green on all our funded accounts, which is good. I want to give this some time. I see AMD pushing up. I want to see if Nvidia follows it. But if you want to check out Top Step, I'll put the link up right here. Oh man, I look the other way. My trade just goes against me. Luckily, we're green on the day prior to this, but I'll start to scale out. I want to see if it'll bounce at the 200 exponential, but I'm going to take some of this size off here just to protect it. And remember, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. I get paid by them. So, genuinely useful for traders. A great way to learn. All right, so we did bounce right there at the 200 exponential. We're kind of popping right back up here now. That's what I was worried about. All right. Reduce my size just a bit. AMD says AI workloads expand. Legacy chips are still very important and will be useful for 5 to 6 years. According to Lisa Su. See, that news just came out in a CNBC interview. This is actually a long position here. I want to see if it bounces at the 200 EMA. Here's the 200 exponential here. We bounced a little bit right there already, but I limited some of my size just to protect it. Yeah, AMD had their like tech day yesterday, or one of them. It's hard to keep track of all of them now, though. Holding this long because I really don't see selling coming. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we've been up the last few days, but trying to fight our way higher here. Again, I want to give it time to hold. If AMD and Nvidia bounce, then it might drag it up. Yeah, Bessett talking about tariffs still. If you look at what he's saying we had Canadian building permits come out. He said $2,000 tariff stimulus checks will most likely be going to all Americans who make less than $100,000 a year. All right, so there's the big bull run that we got. Again, now we're green, but try adding back here, maybe on this retracement. Pop right back up. Unless we just get dumped here, I think it's worth the risk. Again, so under $100,000 a year, where the $2,000 checks are going to come from. We come right back down. The price action's horrible. I hope this doesn't happen. I hope we move back up and test 25.8 again. But the price action just hasn't been good. He said there's a lot of options for tariff dividends. Yeah, again, he reiterated substantial tax refunds coming early next year. Yeah, the problem is that Nvidia is starting to turn here. I don't know if I like where Nvidia's at now. Bounces. Bitcoin back right around 105,000. Yeah, I'm trying to be patient with this, but the more I look at this, I mean, it bounced a little bit at the 200 exponential. If it starts to retest this, I gotta just get out. Y'all yell at me if this starts to drop too much. I'm looking at other stuff. Besson said overseas workers can train Americans and return home. He said I want to bring in skilled workers for 3 to 7 years to train. Under 150K would be good. Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting one, and that's okay. You know. Give longs a chance this morning, guys. That's all. If doubts. Now, market opens up in 30 minutes or in an hour, roughly. Price action is just not good. Trying to see if Hassett is still speaking. Or Besant. Again, apparently Besant's speaking. He's speaking on the tariff dividend that we might get. Walmart's all right. A little choppy this year, but green nonetheless in the year. All right, Nvidia back up some. This looks news related. Let me make sure it's not. Again, look at Nvidia bounce right back at 195.60s here. There we go. We'll take a piece off up there, another piece, and then we'll let the rest work. Took long enough to be green on this one, but green is good nonetheless. I will buy a larger pullback too if we get it. Bad ad. Actually, it's a very good ad. Alright, we're out. I think I got helped by some type of news going on in Microchips right now. I think Lisa Su is probably speaking somewhere. Let me see. I heard she was speaking this morning. Let me see if I can figure out where. All right, I'm sorry, the music's off. I'm looking to see if Lisa Sue is speaking. I think she is somewhere. I just don't know where. I saw a quote from her earlier today. I don't see anything though. Maybe she's saying something. Although AMD's not really making a big steep move like I would assume it would be if she was. Alright. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm not sure, Sam. I really don't know. We're back over 25.8s here. We're the highs of the day in the NASDAQ are 25.830. Bitcoin back up over 105,000 for spot Bitcoin. Well, I know they had their one of their investor days yesterday, but I still think SNAP benefits are on hold. Yeah, I still think SNAP benefits are down. Coinbase will be leaving Delaware and reincorporating in Texas, according to the Wall Street Journal. I wonder if this seat is an optimistic thing for Coinbase. Coinbase is up today, though, with Bitcoin. Still pulled back some yesterday, though. All right, now we're getting a dip here. How do you feel about Open Door now? I mean, I still don't really like buying it. I just don't know enough about it. It's up. It's already up ridiculous, like 1,000% or whatever that is. More than that. So, yeah, I don't know. Walkbox on CNBC. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I knew she was on something. I saw some of her quotes earlier. You think quantum stocks are overpriced? That is yet to be determined, to be honest. It's just yet to be determined. If quantum is that next big technology, maybe not. If things change, maybe. And again, Morgan Stanley, speaking of like tech, Morgan Stanley warned of US power shortage for data centers by 2028. They said surging AI demand could create a power shortfall of up to 20%, about 13 to 44 gigawatts for US data centers through 2028. Analysts led by Stephen Bird called AI computing, quote, the most important technology shift in modern history, end quote, warning that power constraints could become a major bottleneck for growth. Possible fixes, he says, could include natural gas turbines, fuel cells, and small nuclear deals, which could add up to 40 GW of supply. The bank also noted Bitcoin miners repurposing sites for AI computing with new models like Neo Cloud partnerships and long-term powered shell leases offering strong potential value. Will we have enough energy to power AI in data centers? Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is related to tech, like AMD and NVIDIA are not really doing anything. AMD's actually doing a little bit better, but NVIDIA is more heavily weighted. It's chopping up and down and up and down. Was NVIDIA overpriced 10 years ago? No, in hindsight. But hindsight's 2020. I'm assuming you're talking about quantum. And I think if quantum's that next big technology, maybe not. Maybe they're not overpriced. Time will tell. The difference, though, is that quantum stocks have made some wild runs. You know, AMD was at 161 barcoding 10 years ago. Nvidia, 10 years ago, Nvidia was 50 cents a share, right? So if we look at the same trajectory and we look at quantum now, you know, this is assuming quantum is going to be effectively larger than AI, and or maybe quantum's later stage than AMD and Microchips were 10 years ago. And Nvidia were 10 years ago. I don't know. Possible. Again, it depends on if quantum succeeds in what they're trying to do. That's a big if, but if it does, then it's going to be incredibly powerful. Yeah, I think you're right. What Nvidia split? Oh yeah, it was a 10-for-1 split. You're right. So what was it? $50 a share 10 years ago versus 50 cents. $5 a share. I have to go back and look. Yeah, just in the last 3 years, they did 14x in terms of splits. So it's not gonna be 50. It's gonna be less. If we do 0.5 times 14, it would be $7 a share. You know, so still, I mean, it's worth considering, but. Again, I'm not saying I like quantum. I think quantum, if you don't know what quantum means, quantum's computers are kind of the new big thing in markets, at least one of the big things in markets. Quantum computers essentially do things in what's called superposition, which means that they can process things essentially simultaneously, where like a normal computer now, even though it might seem that way to us, like it might seem simultaneous to us, is what I always kind of tell people. When a computer processes things, it's not. It's in order, right? But quantum can do things in what's called superposition, which means they can essentially, and this is a really simplified way to explain it, they can essentially process things simultaneous, and this makes them incredibly more powerful at solving problems, solving equations, solving issues, and because of that, they're way more powerful than our current computers. They're fragile, though. They break a lot. They're error-driven. But they're essentially just really powerful computers at solving them. Again, I see House GOP leaders are confident the funding bill will pass tonight. The bill's final passage is expected to be around 7:30 to 8 p.m., but could slip. Bro, I swear, if we got some House members going out there making some big, long-winded speeches, like, y'all be quiet and just pass the freaking bill and resume the government. Again, Michael Saylor and Brandon Lutnick install a new Satoshi Nakamoto statue in Miami. Look at this. New Satoshi Nakamoto statue. Again, Coinbase leaving Delaware, moving to Texas. Yeah. My quantum analogy, the ability to read every alphabet at once versus going letter by letter. I like the mouse one. I think the mouse one is good. It's a rat in a maze or a mouse in a maze. Instead of trying each path until it finds the right one, it sees every path at once and gets it right first time. Yeah. People don't see the problem with two parties. Yeah, I mean, I'm a centrist, and people get mad at me for being pretty neutral. But like, dude, both sides are obnoxious, you know, to me. Both sides are obnoxious. I think people that just don't have much else going on get really wrapped up in it all because they're trying to fill like a void that they, you know, and like they just get really wrapped up in it. And I'm just not trying to get really wrapped up in it. I'm okay with somebody going like, some people saying, hey, I support this side or I support the other side. I'm okay with that. But when you get really, really, really deep into it, unless you're trying to be a politician, you know, again, I said it once, I'll say it again. It gets to a point where both sides are embellishing things so much for the other side, right? Like both sides are embellishing and exaggerating things so much that neither one of them are speaking truth. They're all just exaggerating and playing the blame game and talking smack about the other one, where a lot of, like, most of what both sides say is not true. You know, it's somewhere in the middle, and that's why I'm in the middle. You know, but people get so emotional and wrapped up in it, and like I don't want to stress myself out that much. I think it's kind of ironic because I talk about this a lot on stream, but you know, at least I'm neutral with it. House Majority Leader Thune says House to vote on bill to end shutdown on Wednesday around 7 p.m. Eastern time. Or no, he's not the House. This is Scalise, my bad. Yeah, smack was the censored version of what I'm saying. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything because now people are going to start arguing about politics. And again, I'm going to make you guys say something nice about the other one, if you do. All right. All right, NASDAQ back up over 25.8s here. Yeah. All right, guys, here's AMD. 252s, NVIDIA 195s. We're kind of slowly moving up in markets. We're kind of chopping. Like, we got a slow move up here. We're kind of going like, that's not worst lines ever right there. Like, we're just kind of pivoting back and forth here. Slowly creeping up. We might continue higher. Here's the highs of the day. Okay, so the House of Representatives will vote on a bill to officially end the 43 government shutdown at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight. Why so late? I thought it was 4 p.m. What happened? Why is it 7 now? It's expected to be between 7:30 and 8 p.m. Eastern time, according to CNN. The passage of it is expected to be 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern. All right, NASDAQ's creeping higher here. Again, we did have a news about Disney announcing that the company and CFO Hugh Johnson amend employment agreement via an SEC filing. Disney has earnings tomorrow as well. I don't necessarily hate Disney. And if you guys want me to look at some stocks, just let me know. I'll look at some stocks. Yeah, let's take a look at gold. Here's Disney. Gold sideways since Monday, but still back over 4,000, and it was under 4,000 for a little while, so it's back up. Here's gold. Look at gold dip. So gold's now technically red on the day. Here's oil. USAR. This one honestly hurts to look at, but not as much anymore. Because, again, I told you guys this before. I had a friend that reached out to me and said, hey, because of the stuff going on with the current administration, they think that USAR is going to spike. And they told me this at like $13 or $14 a share. But, again, I'm used to people coming to me. And it's by the time they come to me, because they don't really focus on the stock market. They don't really watch the stock market like that. I'm used to people coming to me and saying, hey, this is going to run. But it's kind of like, by the time people outside the market are coming to me with stock ideas, it's usually too late. And so that's what I told him. I said, hey, maybe it works. I don't know anything about this company. I don't know if it's going to spike or not. Maybe it does, but it also might be too late, and it's got a low float, so it can move up and down big percentages. So it's big risk, big reward. Be careful. And he was like, okay. And then afterwards, it ran all the way up to $44 a share from like 14. He told me like right here, you know. And I felt terrible because it's not like I talked him out of it. I just told him I didn't know, and it's big risk, big reward, essentially, is what I told him. Got all the way up to $44 after that. Well over 100% in a couple weeks. Really, I think he told me right here. But yeah, I mean, it has, since I've looked at it, it has now fallen all the way back down to under 20, which makes me feel a little bit better about missing it. Because you know how it goes. If you miss a move, you want that thing to crash today. And so I'm not saying I want it to crash, but I definitely want it to crash. You know? No, it was my friend Britt. He's one of my best friends, you know. He, yeah. Different friend hurt my knee, you know. He felt horrible about it as well. It was kind of my fault. I turned the wrong way and like twisted in a knee lock, and I was just stupid. That's how I hurt my knee. 13 base now? Yeah, that's possible. What about call options? Yeah, but how many rumors circulate in penny stocks that something's gonna run big? You know, sometimes they're just gaining liquidity from retail. They're hyping retail up, getting them to buy it, and then insiders are unloading positions on those retail traders. Like, there's a lot of weirdness that goes on and stuff like that. So, while I missed out on this move in hindsight, and while my friend may have missed out on it, I don't know if he took the position or not. I'm not necessarily super upset I missed it. I mean, I want it to crash tomorrow, but, you know, I'll be all right. Yeah, knee's fine. I did leg presses yesterday. He's doing better. I can go up and down stairs normally now. Supposed to get the brace off less than a week. But I'm not wearing it right now either. I mean, I hate that brace. All right, guys, we got 30 minutes until the opening bell. We'll see what we get. We'll see what we get. We're supposed to get CPI data tomorrow. I don't think we're going to, but we're supposed to. I want to buy this pullback now, guys. Let me know. Yeah, I should have. Should have bought it. Right in the middle of the range, though. Is AMD going to be the next NVIDIA? I mean, it could be. It's up a lot, though. What's up, Mama Pawn? Hope you're doing good. Should have bought this. Oh well. 30 minutes until the market opens. Again, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight is when the House is going to vote on the government shutdown ending. I don't think we're going to get CPI data tomorrow, though. I really don't. I think maybe Friday we'll get some delayed data, but I think that's kind of low odds as well. What do you guys think? When will we get CPI? Here's the problem, is that for the entire month of October, and this is supposed to be October CPI data, the government agencies collecting the data were shut down. And so, while we were originally scheduled to get CPI tomorrow, I don't think we're going to. I think, I don't know if we're even going to get October CPI data to begin with. You know, like, I don't think we're going to get some of that data in the first place. I don't think we're getting it tomorrow. Again, last week, what did everybody think we were going to get the payroll report last Friday? Was it last Friday? Everybody thought we'd get the payroll report. And people were arguing with me, telling me it was going to come out, and then it didn't. I don't even think it's scheduled for tomorrow anymore. Like I said, what are the odds that the government resumes tomorrow, late tonight at 9 o'clock, and they somehow get people into the office tomorrow, compile the data, which they didn't actually end up pulling because because they were shut down in the entire month that the data is supposed to reference, and they still publish it anyway at 8:30 in the morning tomorrow? I think that the odds of that are incredibly low. Maybe. Again, let me know, chat, let me know what you guys think, but I think the odds of that are pretty low. Even when we get the data, it's probably not going to be accurate. Yeah, here's the NASDAQ breaking down here right at 9 o'clock. We don't really have any news driving this. It's just kind of probably some algorithms for 9 o'clock. Yeah, we'll see. Got some drops here, though. Market's very flat. The last 2 days have been pretty flat. I want to buy this. Kind of do. Bouncing right at 790s. Every time I'm like, hey, I kind of want to buy this dip immediately. As soon as I say it, we end up pushing up. I said it right here too. We ended up ripping up as soon as I said it. I might buy this now again. It's back down. Let me try. We'll add this. We'll cut it quickly, though, if it turns against me, though. It is 9 o'clock. We got 30 minutes left until the market opens here, chat. 30 minutes. I'm kind of sitting flat in this. Maybe a boredom trade here. It's just, there's nothing else to do. Sometimes waiting is better. But I think we're right at the 200 exponential, so it could be. I don't hate it. Okay, we're green. CoreWeave announced that it entered an agreement to increase its revolving credit facility from 1.5 to 2.5 billion and extend the maturity date from May 28 to November of 29. CoreWeave. Yeah, the problem is Nvidia is actually kind of fading down a little bit here. I don't think I'm doing as good this week as I was last week in my stocks. I'll look at my accounts after I exit this trade. Last week, the last like month, I was doing great. Hey, I don't think I'm doing quite. I mean, I don't know. I'll have to look. I know I made money yesterday. I can't remember what I did Monday, if I lost money or not. Again, I think we've had 2 green days in a row now too, so. I'll give it a second, see if it breaks this and then pops right back up, and if not, I'll cut it. Pop right back up. Let's see if it holds it now though. Took a little piece of this off. We're still green on the day, but just for risk management. Enterprise software firms are selling the same AI agents, noting enterprise buyers struggle to select AI agents due to significant market overlap, they say, according to the information. We got some Fed speakers today. It's nothing really big. We got some members speaking, but it's not like major. I think it's like Moran is speaking later. All right, we got to sell that. We're down a little bit on the day, but not much. Let me look at my stats this week. I can't remember if I'm green or red. I know here's one account that I just traded. So it's like a slightly red November so far. Or no, a slightly green November. I mean, we're pretty green actually in this one. We've only had 1 losing day, and I think that's just this loss that we just took on this, which is small. Here's another one. This one we're actually doing pretty good still. This is the October. This is the whole month of October. We only had 1 losing day the whole month, which is good. Yeah, I already saw that one, Pawn. I already covered that one about Coinbase moving to Texas, leaving Delaware. We're seeing a lot of companies do that as well. What else we got? Okay, here's a different account. And this one, same thing. We only had 1 losing day. We get a separate account. This little guy right here. I figured out the way I trade is I trade multiple different accounts same day. That way, like if I have a bad day in one account, instead of instead of just taking too much risk in one account, I can switch and pivot between accounts. And I think that works much better for me as a trader. And then here's another account. This one, the graph is still pretty good. Like if you look at the actual graph here for October. But we did have a little bit more losing days on this account, but it wasn't bad. It was still probably a pretty good average here. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 in the month out of 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 14. So 4 out of 14 losing days, 10 out of 14 winning days. So still pretty solid there. Yeah, hit the like and subscribe button, chat. We appreciate it. Again, BLS, BEA employees returning to work, but they're not going to be releasing data here. I'm just waiting for the data backlog to come in. Yeah, they're small. They're tiny red days. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Market's just too choppy for me to trade right now. I mean, we took some swings this morning. But again, it's just one of those days where like we have decent moves up or down, but we're still kind of sideways in trend. And now that we're under the 200 exponential, I don't really want to take either direction. It looks like we might continue down for a little ways, but I really don't know. Fed Williams is speaking right now. She said will not be long before reserves are at an ample level. Repeats the Fed is close to desired level for bank reserves. What's she speaking on right now? Let me see. Williams is speaking. I don't know where speaking. Yeah, we got the Fed minutes next Wednesday, as well as Nvidia earnings same day. Yeah, I'm looking at some of these levels, but there's not really any like major ones. Like these are the levels I have: 725, 750, 67, 800, 830. The levels I have right now, 850 on the Nasdaq. But again, I can't guarantee they're going to follow these levels. Not an investment professional. I have a 49-inch ultra wide monitor at the bottom. And then you guys see the top monitor, which I think is I think it's an ultra wide. I think it's an ultra wide. I think the top one's like a 40-inch. I can't remember what the top one is. I can't remember the sizes anymore. It's been so long since I bought them. Are you optimistic on the data we get? I don't think the data we get is going to be necessarily accurate. It might move markets, it might swing things, but I don't necessarily think it's accurate. You want to see the monitor? I can show you the monitor somewhere. Let me find it. It's somewhere in Pawn and I's conversation. I don't know where though. It's somewhere. Really don't know. It's gonna take me a while to go back and find it, dude. Yeah, I don't even know how to find it. I may be able to find it. All right, so the China Vice Premier says China and the U.S. have vast room for cooperation in trade and the economy. And so again, the China Vice Premier just said this regarding U.S.-China relations. There's still some tension, I think, but oh, here it is. Juan found it. Thank you, sir. Again, OpenAI says demand does not impact ChatGPT enterprise customers. They said New York Times demand to turn over conversations violates privacies, and they issued statement on New York Times user privacy. This affects Microsoft. I don't think so, but maybe a little bit. Yeah, at this point in time, I have, like, look. I've got me up there. I don't know if y'all can see me up there, you know. But I've got the bear obituary right there, which is good. Yeah, I look at a bunch of different stuff. That's why people are like, hey, you don't even look at this chart. You don't even look at this 5-minute chart or whatever. I'm like, dude, I got so much stuff on my bottom monitor that you guys don't see. I just can't fit everything. So I try to show you guys like the most real-time 1-minute chart time frame because I think that makes the most sense. You know. All right, guys, 15 minutes until the market opens. We'll see what we get. A very fancy office. Some would say it's a kitchen, I would say, or my mom's basement. I don't know which one I'd prefer. I like the name The Cook of Wall Street. I think that's good. It might have like Breaking Bad tones to it though. Yeah. But alright, guys. Again, it's been kind of a slow day. I mean, we've traded, but not a lot. And the market's been very flat. Look at Bitcoin sideways too. Nvidia, AMD up on tech. AMD had growth outlook increase that they're reacting to. Still, they're gapping up some. The House is supposed to vote tonight. Originally, I heard 4 p.m. Now I'm hearing 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. They should be done by 8:30, I think. As long as we don't have any stragglers like the Senate did with Cornyn. It should be done tonight. President should sign it tonight, and then government back open tomorrow, Thursday. Nvidia wants to go hard at the opening bell. We'll see. What's up, BT? Yeah, I hope you're doing good. Yeah, I like the Cook of Wall Street. But I don't know, it's been boring for a month and a half. We haven't had any economic data. I'm just excited to get data now. Still rejecting this 200 EMA here, but you can kind of see got a range here. Let's see what the opening bell brings, but the range is small. I think after the shutdown, I hate politics even more than I used to. I've had to look at it more and listen to arguing and just nonsense more during the last month and a half, just because I'm watching for the government to, shutdown to end. And it's just obnoxious. I hate it. Just arguing. I think the best word for it is pandering. That's probably the best word. I just dislike all of it. Hey, good luck, Pawn. Yeah, I mean, we had CPI data come out a couple weeks ago. That's good, but I've thought about shaving my beard. Kara wants me to shave my beard. I don't think I'm for it, though. I think I like the beard. People would think I'm on the wrong channel. All right, guys. 10 minutes. Slow day. AMD's up. Tech is up. Gap it up. We've had a couple green days in a row now. Let's see if the green days hold. 2 green days for tech today. Here's the Q. Slightly green though. It hasn't been like really green if you look at previous closing price. The SPY has been green. The Dow I think has been green here. So we've had green days all around mostly, but is it time for a red day? I think is the question we have to ask ourselves into the opening bell. Is Michael Burry correct? We did a poll. 41% think he is correct. Oh, in this poll, and we'll do another poll. Are you bullish or bearish for the opening bell? I vote on that poll. That poll is now live as well here. Okay, got you. All right. Again, data releases are going to start coming back, which is good. I mean, we've still gotten like 800 or 900 people here at the opening bell, which is good. Not at the opening bell. We get over 800 at the open. We get like 800 or 900 during the earlier morning parts. So the numbers have still been okay. It's just been boring. I haven't had as much to talk about. Like, we got Fed meeting that happened. We got a 25 basis point cut last time. We're still expecting a 25 basis point cut in December now. And I think we had a number show up in terms of economists that think we're going to cut rates. I think it was like 70 or 80% of economists think we're going to cut rates in December as well. It's on December 10th. If we look at yields, again, yields were closed yesterday for the holiday, and they opened up lower this morning here, probably after that payroll data showed weaker numbers here. ADP payroll data came out yesterday. It was like negative 11.25 thousand jobs that they showed, and we're going to be getting that data every Tuesday from now on. And I think we're also going to get some of these delayed reports as well. So we should have a lot of data coming. It might take them a week to get everything in line, but we should have a lot of data coming out soon. So do whatever the wife says. Happy wife, happy life. What he said. Jeff's comment is the worst advice. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think people are different. I think you got some people that do whatever their partner says, and then you got others where, like, Carol and I are pretty, like, if I'm doing something wrong, I'm gonna hear about it. And if she's doing something wrong, she's gonna hear about it. Now, neither one of us are doing anything crazy wrong, but just in terms of, like, when you're married, you kind of you know, you butt heads sometimes. That's normal. But we've been together for over 10 years. Things are usually pretty calm. Now, do I think we should just do whatever she wants to do all the time? No. But, you know. Yeah, Bitcoin at 104.8. So Bitcoin just under 105s. $2,000? I'm not getting 2,000. I wish I was getting 2,000. Send me free money. If everybody else gets free money, I want free money too. I feel left out, you know. You always say yes, dear. Yeah, I get it. There's certain times where even if you're right, you gotta just be like, yep, I'm sorry, you know. That definitely happens. Deep down, I know I'm right. But, you know, I gotta be like, yep, you know what? I'm sorry. Couldn't have done it. You know? Anyways. Buy pallets here? The last time we got checks, and I got them last time. I don't remember what I did with it. I remember the check from the treasury, like the actual check. I don't remember what I did with it though. All right, guys, here's the opening bell. We got the Dow up on the bottom here. Again, AMD up on growth optimism after their conference yesterday. Pretty quiet day, though. NASDAQ's still breaking down here. I'm watching 770 as maybe a stop for this breakdown. We got the opening bell in about 4 minutes. And so we got some time leading into the opening bell. Fed Williams says reserves are at ample levels. We don't really have any big news. We did have OpenAI say the New York Times is demanding that they turn over 20 million of private chat GPT conversations. Why? Why would the New York Times be demanding this data? Why would anybody give it to them? They will continue to explore every option available to protect user privacy. Company does emphasize that demand does not impact ChatGPT enterprise customers. Okay, that demand. What kind of weight does the New York Times have, though, in terms of demanding that? I gotta look deeper into this. I'm gonna bust out AI and use it. All right, guys, we have 2 minutes left, roughly, about 2 minutes left. Okay, so basically what's going on here, I researched this a little bit more. AMD's also pushing right now. Look at AMD. AMD up to 253s. NASDAQ did bounce. Look at this level right here. 771. Bounce exactly at 771. So apparently, New York Times is suing OpenAI, which their claim is that it's systemically violating its copyright. They originally demanded access to 120 million user conversations. OpenAI's pushed back, calling it mass surveillance of its users. They now offered 20 million user conversations as statistically valid sample, while also posting a public blog today titled "Fighting the New York Times Invasion of User Privacy." New York Times needs to sit out. I'm not saying I've never taken one of those links where it lets you read about 3 sentences and then it's like, hey, you have to pay your $3 subscription. I'm not saying I've never copied that URL and pasted it into OpenAI and been like, hey, summarize what's in this article for me. I'm not saying I did do that either, but at this point, you're just mad about AI as a whole. That's going to happen. There's no way you can stop that. That's going to happen. And so New York Times needs to get with the times, I think. And I don't think this is going to help their outlook either. All right, guys, we got 30 seconds until the market opens. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. $20 seconds. All right, guys, here's the opening bell. Good luck. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. All right, there's the bell. All right, NASDAQ's falling a little bit at the open. We're watching NVIDIA here, which has dropped some. AMD actually pushing up a little bit at the opening bell. Maybe a delayed response to yesterday. Apple dipping down some as well. AMD up. Again, look at this drop here. 756s, 53s, 50s. Look at AMD's pushing. NVIDIA down to 195s. There's 750s right here. Again, we're too close to the bell for me to really trade this, but look at this drop at the opening bell. Again, Apple's falling at the open. Healthcare is also falling down. Look at this drop. Oops, there we go. I'm trying to look for my chat. Where's my chat? There it is. Wow. Look at this dip here, guys. Whoa. Look at the red. Again, Apple, NVIDIA, Microsoft. A lot of stuff's down at the opening bell here, guys. Google. Look at this drop. Wow, still falling. All right, so some people are saying commercial mortgage-backed securities have reached the highest delinquency rate in history, according to S&P Global. There's 700s right here. Man, this is some red. AMD's one of the only Mag 7 stocks green since the open. Amazon's almost green. Netflix is down pretty big too. I don't want to buy it. We're down so much, but also not the most confident in it. And we're pretty close. I need to wait a couple minutes to trade. All right, we're about to get 685s. Should have bought it. AMD still moving up though. Look at AMD. AMD up to almost 260s right now, guys. Holding support at 685s. I should have gone long. It's like the third time today I'm like, hey, I should buy that, and then I don't, and then it goes the same direction. I should have bought it. All right. Top 3 latest ever today. Alright, I'm gonna start trying to buy this maybe if we get back to 685s. Alright, try. Oh wait, here. Alright, I'm trying to figure out which account that I'm on right now. There it is. Alright, I got out. We were mostly flat. Let me make sure I'm in the right account. Okay, hold on. Okay, yeah, that's right. We got out flat. We're up 34 cents on that trade. I guess it could be worse. Green is good, I guess. 75, we might bounce right here. I'm gonna try to buy this too. Alright, we're flat. Let's go green if we can. Don't catch a falling knife, guys. Don't be like me. I mean, we're green doing it, but don't be like me here. Take it out right there. Alright. The music go. Yeah, the people have been hedging into the Dow just because of less tech consolidation in the Dow, you know. Nvidia's starting to fight its way back up here, but we got a long road to go to rebound fill some of the gap we've seen this morning here, to be honest. Also, again, I'm on Top Step if you want to help support the channel. No PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, some currencies. Very difficult to fund your own account thousands of dollars and probably lose it in the stock market or day trading. Instead, futures, no PDT rule. Get you around the PDT rule. Great way to learn is Top Step. They give you a $50 demo. If you pass their test, they fund you. If you fail, you lose $50 for the base one. There's larger packages as well. They pay out millions, fund thousands. You can reset funded accounts and all that good stuff. There's the link right there. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not an investment professional. I'm biased. Netflix is coming right back down though. A little bit of a late position, but we have a cushion on the day. We might add some more into it. Hold on. There we go. We gotta add one more to this if we get some good action here. So we're gonna add there. Alright, so we're bouncing at this level here. Let's see if it follows through now. I'm gonna take some of the off. There we go. Take a little bit more off up there. More here. 3. We'll leave it at 3. Yeah, I gotta cut it. We switched accounts and took a different account, but I'll try to win back some of the losses on this one too. Apple just breaking down this morning at 272s. There we go. Start unloading this up here too. I'll try to hold this for a rebound though. We've already taken most profit off of it. Go. We added to it just now. Try to hold it break even. I want to give it a chance to run, but go. There we go. We're gonna start cutting this up here. Might add back down here too, to be honest, since we're green. If it retraces back up there. Too close to lows for my comfort, I gotta cut it. Like I said, we'll switch. We're green in 1, red in 2 accounts today, which is alright. Kind of getting stuck back and forth. Where's Meta? I haven't even looked at it this morning. Ooh, Meta's all the way back down. Yeah, I mean, again, if I sold the bottom, it's alright. Like I said, I gotta risk manage it. And that doesn't look like the bottom. That looks like the bottom. In hindsight, I think that was probably a good sell, but Nasdaq's still flushing down. Let's watch 650s down here. Looking weak for sure, though. AMD starting to turn as well. Look at Nvidia. This is Nvidia falling back down again here. Nvidia's trying to go green on the day, or go red on the day. It's at the previous closing price now. But it looks heavy. Bouncing at 650 though. Look at that level it holds now. Bitcoin falling down to under 105s. AMD giving back some of the gains it made. Again, we've had multiple green days in a row now, so I don't think it's crazy to assume that we're gonna have a red day finally. He dipped all the way back down. Is this news related? Look at this candle wick right here on AIM. Is that news related? Because look at that wick up and down here. That's big. I'm not selling Meta yet. It's a small enough position to where it doesn't matter either way that much right now, but Meta's definitely red on the day. AMD shares, Palantir, Rigetti, Quantum, Dow. All right, we are seeing a rebound here. If the rebound continues or what happens. I'm waiting a little bit to trade some of these. Still heading down, at least they're trying to. Let's see what we're kind of whippy right now. Bouncing 650 again still. AMD and Nvidia fighting their way back up though a little bit here. See if the redness continues. Deep red day so far though. Not really much pullbacks to be able to jump in short either. Will we bounce back here, guys? Let me see what the chat is. I haven't even looked at you guys. Hold on. Yeah, I'm not selling Meta right now. I'm staying in it. Not unless we see like a big correction in all of tech. That scares me out of Meta. That is down so much. I think there's probably a, you know, it looks cheap. All right, another big pop back up here, guys. Rising. Not really going anywhere. AMD had a weird turn, but Apple's bouncing back a little bit. That is still the down one, but AMD still looks like it's fading, and Nvidia doesn't look like it's getting its bearings yet. Bitcoin's bouncing back up to 104.8 though. Look at these drops here, guys. Wow. AMD turning in, again, Nvidia back down to 190s. Yeah, they're voting to open the government. It's going to be noticeably later, though. It's going to be way later. It's going to be at like 7 o'clock is that what I hear. You know. U.S. commercial construction outlook largely positive according to QBE. North America report, but faces headwinds such as labor shortages and others. Yeah, no, I don't know if any of this is going to stop the breakdown here. Again, we're supposed to get CPI tomorrow. I don't think we're going to get it, but we'll see. What a drop. I might try to take a little piece of one here. See. Might add another piece of this. If we keep dropping, I gotta sell quick. I'm already gonna unload half of this just because I don't like it at all. There we go, green. There we go. We're gonna take half off of there. Just sketchy going long right now, even though we're 20 minutes into the open. Stuff's going down. Look at Whoa. Yeah, Bitcoin's fallen since the opening bell too. I didn't even look at it, but look at Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm gonna sell this. We're red on basically everything. It's not my day. I'm trying to limit my losses. It's such a steep drop out of nowhere. There's not really any reason for it either, to be honest. Just super steep randomly. Bitcoin dropping just in the last 3 minutes. I don't know if there's a catalyst for Bitcoin. Let me see. Again, U.S. commercial construction positive. Faces headwinds, labor, increased material costs, reduced subsidies. The Dow. Take a look at the Dow here. The Dow's flying up. People are hedging away from tech is what this is. Dow breaking all-time highs right now. All right, I'll get into one more trade here. Famous last words. The range is so big though, like one contract in micros is flying up and down. There we go. I'm gonna add to this here. Hopefully we don't reject it my level. There we go. I'm gonna take that off. We're out. We're green again on this account. Yeah, I don't know what to do with this. It's hard to trade this. Go heading down here this morning, guys. It's just weird. Usually we like steep moves like this or catalyst driven. Right, this is just a weird steep move. Again, my hands are off right now. I'm not messing with this anymore. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Again, check out Top Step. You want to help support the channel. Limit your risk. Most day traders lose. Great way to learn. Again, $50 is what the base one costs roughly. If you pass it, you got to make 3K in profit without losing 2K. So it's reasonable 2 to 3 ratio. If you pass it, you get a 50K funded account. 90% split, which is similar to funding your own account. If you fail it, you're out $50. It's the best of both worlds. It's limited risk, similar reward to funding your own account. And learning how to risk something, but not 10,000, 20,000 plus makes sense. Most day traders are going to lose regardless of where they go. So this is objectively useful for most new traders, in my opinion. And maybe it's not objective, it's in my opinion, but genuinely useful in my opinion. But again, I'm biased. If you want to check them out, great way to help support the channel. As soon as we close this stream, it's going to bring you to, I'm going to title it CPI because I'm hoping they release it tomorrow, but they're probably not going to. But we'll see what happens. Again, as soon as I close the stream, it should immediately bring you to tomorrow's stream. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Y'all be safe, okay? Market's kind of sketchy right now. Y'all be good. Have a great day. I don't know if this drop is big enough to say Michael Burry's right. If we keep dropping today and tomorrow and the next day, maybe. Y'all be good.